If you are an existing brand owner that is not currently on TikTok Shop, then you are leaving so much cash on the table. So what I'm going to aim to do in this video is walk you step by step how you can actually get your products onto TikTok Shop, how you can start selling, and how you can absolutely crush it. So TikTok Shop, without a doubt, is honestly one of the biggest money printers if you can get it right. These are some of the results that we've achieved, or these are the results that we've achieved with one brand in its very first month on TikTok, just by following the steps in this video here. I am going to be doing no holds barred. I'm going to be revealing everything, talking about creators, talking about different things that you need to consider when you are adding your product onto TikTok. It's not just going to be a case of copying and pasting from your other like websites or whatever. Trust me, there's a lot of gold in here. So make sure that you get comfy, get your favorite drink, your notepad and pen, and let's crack on. So just presuming that you don't really have like any understanding of what it takes to be a success with TikTok Shop, or you just want to understand whether the product that you've got is likely to do well on TikTok or not, I just want to walk through the kind of 4 different ingredients, I would say, that I believe are going to be essential for you to have if you want to really get the best results on TikTok. So the first point is the product offering. Not every single product is going to be a success on TikTok, right? The type of person that you are marketing to on TikTok is not really there to be shopping at the moment. They're there to be entertained, informed, educated on the app, right? They don't want to be sold to, and they don't really want to be shown like products that are just not particularly unique or enticing. So for that reason, you need to make sure, no matter how true it is or not, that the product that you list on TikTok is marketed in as a unique way as possible. You try and really drill down on the ways that it's differentiated, the different ways that it actually solves people's problems, and so on, so that when people see it, they kind of, think mentally, oh, this product is a lot better than I initially thought, or this product's really cool, or whatever. So I would say, in this product offer section here, you absolutely need to make sure that it's either got a very unique angle about it, and maybe initially you might not think it has, but I'm sure if you put your mind to it or use ChatGPT or whatever, then you can really drill down on what makes it special. It could be the design, it could be a certain feature, whatever, or that you really drill down on the positioning. So you really focus and make the person on TikTok aware that the product that you have, that you're offering, it solves a problem that they necessarily might not even know that they've got. I mean, the most obvious kind of category or product that does that would be a supplement, right? You kind of say, did you know that, I don't know, if you're in the UK, you're vitamin D deficient, you need this product XYZ, right? So just always keep in the back of your mind that TikTok is not primarily a shopping platform yet, right? It may well become a primary place that people go to shop in the future, but for now, it's not. So I would say for sure, you need to make sure that your offer ticks one of those boxes. The second thing, if you really, really are struggling to, hone in on what makes this product unique or whatever, you without a doubt are going to have to tick this box, and this is the price point. Again, people on TikTok, they're not there to shop. So if they just see a product that they could get down the shops or they can get on Amazon for the very same price that you're offering it, it's just not going to convert, right? The one thing that I've noticed about TikTok users, especially in the UK, is that they are pretty tight. They don't want to spend much money. In fact, I learned a really interesting statistic the other day that said in the US on TikTok, the average spend is about $40. In the UK, it's about £10, right? So that just kind of gives you a clue on how tight unwilling people are on TikTok to spend money. So you must definitely do your research. I mean, if you're already selling on Shopify, Amazon, wherever, then you'll probably understand what is an attractive price point. But especially for your launch, I will be launching at a price point below Amazon, just so that you can kind of get, make the offer as compelling as possible. So you also want to make sure that you're making use of what are called deal drops. So these are like periods at the end of each month where TikTok runs a campaign and allows you to join and lower your price, which can often be subsidized by TikTok. And that works a little bit like Prime Day on Amazon. And you also want to make sure that you use flash sales. Again, it's like time-bound deals. The best thing about flash sales on TikTok is they don't cost anything. On Amazon, you've got to pay like £50, $100, whatever. TikTok, you don't, and you can keep running them over and over and over. So for sure, if your product, is not ticking a lot of boxes here when it comes to the product offer, it needs to tick the price box, right? Ideally, you can mix a little bit of most of both of these in. The third thing is promotion, right? I've spoken to a number of brands now that say we added our product on TikTok. We kind of opened it up to TikTok Shop affiliates, to creators to promote our product, and we didn't get anywhere. We didn't get any sales. It's no different to creating a listing on Amazon with no PPC advertising and just expecting, sales to be made. You've got to make sure that you're getting eyeballs on your TikTok listing. You've got to make sure that you are promoting it. And that's going to come really in the form of you uploading videos, promoting your products. It's going to come in the form of you reaching out to creators and asking them to upload videos on your products. It's going to come to advertising, and it's going to come down to possibly doing TikTok Shop Lives. There's so many different things that you can be doing to get eyeballs and visibility on your brand, on your shop, on your products. And again, it's an essential ingredient. You can have the best product in the world, the best price point, but if no one knows it's there, it's just not going to be bought. And then the fourth and final ingredient is all about your strategy and how optimized your product offer and your listing is. So your strategy with your affiliates, your creators, are you guiding them on what to say properly, nurturing them, motivating them? Is your listing written in a way that actually informs the TikTok shopper of what your product is and the problems it solves? And again, timing and execution, it's all so important. So we're going to be covering everything to do with all these areas and more in this mini course. But what I will say just before I crack on is, if you're not familiar with me, you've not come across me before. So I co-founded Honest Brands, Honest Creators. And what we do at Honest Creators is we've got our own TikTok Shop creators community of over 1,000 people that are trained. We're an official partner of TikTok. We're an agency. We can do all of this for you. We can also coach you on everything. I'll put all the details for, what we offer in the description below. But, at the moment, for the brands that we work with, we're generating over $500,000 a month in sales because of the creators that we work with. So yeah, there's a lot of money in here. Cumulatively, that's what we're generating. This is just one brand that we're actually running, we're running an account for, and that's the first month's results. So you're going to learn a lot. Okay, so let's just start off with setting up your TikTok account. Okay, so I'm going to presume right now that you already have a brand, you've already got a product. If you don't have that, I might do a separate video on product research and whatever for TikTok in the future. But this course really is going to be assuming that you're already selling on Amazon, you're already selling on Shopify, you're already selling somewhere. You just want to kind of get set up on TikTok. So what you're going to need before you actually crack on with your TikTok shop, registration is you're going to need your company details. And this tutorial really is going to be more geared to people in the UK, but US LLC details too. You're going to need your bank details, proof of identification. If your product is branded, you're going to need trademark information. You can still list your product without that, but it won't have the brand name. So it's really recommended that you do have that. And then you're going to need your proof of address. Now, if you are, selling in the US and you're not based in the US, or vice versa, UK and you're not based in the UK, you are going to need to make use of a representative's address details. So you'll need to have a contact that can represent you and your company, and you'll need to be putting, their details in for proof of address or whatever. So the website to go to is going to be, I'm just going to see if I can quickly swap over. It's TikTok Shop Seller Central. So I would just go onto Google and just type in TikTok Shop Seller Center here, right? Super easy. And then as soon as you do that, you will be guided through the registration process. So the first thing you'll be asked is tell us more about your business. In 99% of cases, it's going to be a corporation, limited company, LLC, whatever. Then you need to upload your company certificate of incorporation. If you've lost it, if you don't know where it is, just go on Google, type in company's house. If you're in the UK, type in your company name and you can find it straight off the bat. Tell us about your business representative. So this is basically going to be you if you are living in the country that you're planning on selling in, or your representative if not. So for me, when I was registering, this was just driving license. Super easy. You basically just take a photo, you take a picture of your driving license, upload it, whatever. Next up is your shop name. So much like Amazon, the process is very, very similar actually. The shop name is not the same as your brand name. So you could be, I don't know, a wholesaler that sells lots of different branded products. You would just put in here the name of your shop. So it could be, I don't know, Jansen's Products, whatever. It's not the actual brand name here. So, really, like ultimately, it doesn't really make a huge difference. The vast majority of people, when they're searching on TikTok, if they do want to search for you, are going to be searching for the brand name. So if you only have one brand name, put it in here. If you've got multiple, just think of something a bit catchy. Once you've gone through that, you'll then receive an email that basically just said, you've passed the verification, happy days. And then this is where you then log into your account, and then you have to basically start ticking off the different bits of to do. So you'll have to put in your bank details, where you want to get paid. You'll have to put in, other various pieces of KYC, like anti-money laundering documentation. So where your company is based and all that. And then here we've just got some of the documents that you're going to need to upload in order to prove that. So if you're a business seller, you'll have to do, any one of these. So it could be like a utility bill for the proof of address. It could be, if you're using a serviced office address or whatever, it will be a statement from a bank, and so on. So, again, all of this stuff is kind of obvious and similar to Amazon and other selling platforms that you may have been on. You'll then need to log in and then come into finance once you've gone through that, and you'll need to add your bank account. Obviously, if you want to get paid, not going to keep into the detail there too much, because again, super obvious. Now, the next step, and this is absolutely essential and it is very well hidden, is to change your shipment settings. So in order to do that, you log in and then you come into orders and then shipping settings. And then what you need to do is change the settings based on what you are planning on doing whenever you get an order. So the default option is shipped via platform. And what that means is if you make a sale on TikTok and you are dispatching the goods yourself, like you haven't sent the goods into TikTok themselves, which I'll cover in a second, what will happen is TikTok will generate a shipping label for you with one of these here. And the really annoying thing is that they will hide the customer's name and address until you've actually printed that label off and been charged. So, you by default are not going to be given the customer's details, and you're not going to be given an option to sort postage yourself if you think you can get it cheaper. And this was a mistake that, happened to me when I very first listed on TikTok. I was so confused, and it just meant that I had to use TikTok shipping, which I think was slightly more expensive and just a pain. I didn't want to use any of these. So what you need to do is you'll need to turn it off, and you'll need to turn on shipped by seller. Okay. And the only difference there that happens is that when a sale is made, you will get the customer's address details, their name, and then you can either sort that out yourself with whatever courier website, or you can use an app to pass that information to Amazon or your fulfillment provider, where everything is done automatically. If you don't do that, then you're not going to be able to, use Amazon's shipping to send your goods out if you're already using Amazon as a marketplace or your own 3PL. Okay, so really, really important that you do that. And as soon as you do select that, then you want to come here where it says manage shipment fee template. And what you're going to do there is basically just put in how much you want to charge customers for shipping. Now, when I very first started selling on TikTok Shop, I was just of the mindset that we should charge free postage, right? Because it's very similar to Amazon. But what I've learned over the past 18 months, year, is that actually the vast majority of products on TikTok, they do charge shipping. And I think that all boils down to the fact that it allows the seller to lower the price and make it look cheaper than Amazon and any other marketplaces. And for that reason, I would therefore suggest that you don't do free shipping. You just put on $1.99, $2.99, whatever it is that you think is reasonable. Look at your competitors, whatever. So that is one key difference between Amazon and TikTok. The customers that there don't really mind paying shipping, which I suppose, to be fair, if you don't have Prime, people are going to be paying that on Amazon anyway. So that is a real important difference that you need to be aware of. So make sure that you kind of fill this out and put in your details of what you want to charge. One thing I will say that is like really really like attractive, and I would definitely suggest seriously considering it, is Fulfilled by TikTok. So you probably know what Fulfilled by Amazon is. You ship goods to Amazon's warehouses, it becomes available for sale on the platform, and then they do everything. They pick, pack, post all of the sales that you make. It's the exact same with TikTok, except it is subsidized to absolute, right? It's insane. So they just want to take market share off Amazon. So for the first 3 months worth of sales, up to 15,000 orders, there is no fulfillment fee. Compare that to Amazon, where you're going to be paying like £5 or £6 for bulky items. It's an absolute godsend for your margins, or just for lowering the price and really increasing sales. So you also get free storage. There's a ton of other benefits, and in addition to that, once that period's rolled off, you also get co-funded shipping. So TikTok will also, if your product is priced over £22 or dollars, they will give you a shipping subsidy that basically makes the fulfillment cost negligible. And even if you don't appeal, even if you don't you're not eligible for that, like the fulfillment fees with TikTok are super small anyway at the moment. So that is something that I would seriously recommend checking out. And what is really good also about Fulfilled by TikTok is you can use your Amazon barcodes, you can use your FNSKU, you can use your EAN, whatever, and it's just takes all the headache out of it completely. So as soon as you have kind of set up and you've done that, the first thing that I would be doing is I would be downloading some apps. Okay, so as soon as you've sorted out those initial shipping settings and you've kind of got yourself a little bit familiar with TikTok Seller Center, I admit it's not the most like intuitive platform. The first thing I would be doing is coming to the App Store, which you can find in Growth and then App Store. And the apps that I would say are essential to install are the TikTok for Shopify app, if you are obviously on Shopify. And then if you're planning on using Amazon to do your fulfillment, or just any other 3PL, there's a bunch of like different apps that you can get that connect, but the one that we like to use is called Webby. So you've got Amazon MCF there that connects, or there's also my channel. But Amazon MCF will basically mean that whenever you get a sale, it will connect to Amazon, it will place the fulfillment order for you, and then it will feed back the tracking, which is really important to do. TikTok are quite strict when it comes to supplying like tracking details. So you want to really, especially when you start getting volume, you want to make sure that you're, not like leaving any holes in your business and any opportunities to get banned off TikTok. So the TikTok for Shopify app, it's super simple. It connects to Shopify. It will download all of your listings, all of your images, and just create the listings for you. Now, I'm going to come onto this in just a sec, but I would say, regardless of like whatever app you use to transfer listings over from Amazon, or if you use a VA or anything else like that, then you absolutely need to still ensure that you review the listing, and that you keep in at the back of your mind that TikTok, what I said at the beginning, TikTok is like an impulse marketplace. You are marketing to people that may not necessarily know what the heck your product does. They won't know anything about you. It is very different to Amazon, where people are shopping with intent. They are searching for something. So for example, I'm drinking this energy productivity drink at the moment. People, when I searched for it on Amazon, I knew it existed, or I knew productivity drinks existed, and I was searching for it, and I kind of didn't really look through the listing. I just thought this one looks fine. Whereas if I didn't know that product existed, and it suddenly came up on my TikTok feed, if I then went onto the TikTok shop listing and looked through it, if it didn't have any level of detail and didn't really dive into my pain points of do you lack focus, do you get easily distracted, whatever, then I would be far less likely to buy it. So just make sure that when you are doing your listing on TikTok, it's not just a simple copy and paste. Okay, so those are the two main essential apps to get. There's obviously a bunch of others, but to be honest, I don't really think that anything else is needed. And just to repeat, obviously, if you're doing Fulfilled by TikTok, you're not going to need to actually get Webby. And like I say, I would definitely recommend doing Fulfilled by TikTok. So the next thing that you really are going to need to be working on in the background whilst you are also doing something else yourself, and I'll come on to that, is you need to be like finding creators and getting a good understanding of who's out there and whether they're going to be able to promote your products. So I would say that what we're about to walk through are the most popular methods to finding creators. Obviously, there's going to be loads of other different methods, but these are kind of our favorites. And this is, what we will do is within Honest Creators, when we're working with brands, this is what we do when we want to recruit additional creators that aren't in our community. So obviously my favorite and number one choice to finding creators that are suitable for a brand that we're working with or your brand would be to work with creator communities such as Honest Creators. Now, the benefit of doing that is that these guys are going to be well trained. They're going to understand like how to structure content, how to sell the product without selling, how to talk about pain points and all that good stuff. And it also allows you to kind of hone in on very specific creators with pinpoint accuracy. So if you were to come to Honest Creators, for example, and say, we are promoting an energy drink or a productivity drink, and we want women aged 25 to 40, we want people in fast-paced jobs, whatever, we'd be able to help you there because we understand exactly who our creators are, what they do for work, what they're interested in, and so on. Okay. The negative there, I mean, I've put none, but I guess like the downside there is they're not your creators. So, it might be a little bit harder to like build a relationship yourself with them. Or, like if you wanted to use them again, you'd have to continue going through the creator community. But it's a very small negative. The next one would be using tools like Calodata and Social One. So we're going to be covering that in a little bit of detail shortly. But those are two tools that basically crawl the entirety of TikTok Shop, all of the videos and all of the lives. And they will show you the charts of the top products according to those videos, the top creators, the top videos themselves, and so much more. Absolutely essential tools as a brand owner, as a creator, as anybody that is interested in TikTok Shop. So the great thing about using those tools is you can look at your competition, you can look at similar products, and you can see who the creators are, and then you can message them. Now, the positive there is obviously that the creators are going to understand like what your product is, because you could say, hey, I saw you promoted this product. It's kind of similar. This is what ours does, right? And because of that, they're not going to need like a ton of coaching or guidance. They're going to be ready to go. And you should hope that you'll achieve some level of success with them if they've already achieved success with other type of products. Now, the downside there is that, Calodata and Social One, they obviously cost money. Social One, if you use the discount link in the description below, you'll get it for like $15. But, nonetheless, even though they don't actually cost that much, it's still an investment. It's a monthly subscription. But like, if you're serious about building a brand on TikTok, it's very, very small. The next thing as well is like a lack of quality control. So Calodata and Social One, the only information they can actually give you that is 100% accurate are the views of the videos. Everything else, so like their GMV estimate, the estimate on how many units got sold, whatever, it's exactly that. It's an estimate because TikTok doesn't provide that information. So it's no different really to like Helium 10 and like Jungle Scout with, and Shop Hunter, all these other tools that you get for Shopify and Amazon and so on. But, it's just definitely something to bear in mind. And in addition to that, because it's all estimates, you really don't know for sure whether the creators that you found are any good, or if it's just like a one-hit wonder, or if, they got a load of views but made no sales. So, I'd say if you're going to be messaging lots of creators, the risk of that happening is the risk of you finding a creator that's awful but has lots of views is lower, but it's still a risk. The third option is searching on the TikTok affiliate portal. And again, I'm going to show you that in the back end, like later on in the video. But, as soon as you become a seller on TikTok, you get access to the like affiliate center where you can see what all creators are generating for brands that they work with on a rolling 30-day period. And that is accurate. That is spot on. The downside is you can't see that information by product or category. It's just, generally what did the creator actually make in total. And a big downside is that the information only goes back 30 days. Can't go prior than that. You can't go further back than that. Whereas Calodata, you can do up to a year, I think, or 180 days. But again, it's an all an estimate. So I would say you need to be using both tools. Like I would probably be finding creators on Callow or Social One, and then like verifying their performance on TikTok affiliate portal specifically. Another downside is that it's quite hard to drill down into, like specific areas that you might want to find creators. So you can't look at your competition and just kind of see, what creators have done or like who creators are. You have to kind of search according to category or like keywords. So yeah, I'll show you that in just a while, but that's something to consider. Then my fourth favorite is, just scrolling on TikTok. So as a TikTok seller, you should definitely have the TikTok app. The longer you spend on it, on shop content, the more the algorithm will get to know you and the more creators that you'll naturally start seeing. And whenever you see a good creator, you can message them. Now, the good thing there is that a lot of these creators should be relevant to you. If you're looking at your competition, you're looking at similar products on TikTok, you'll be able to see who the creators are and you can just watch them, right? So straight away, you can see that, these guys are probably going to do a good job of promoting me too. The downside, though, is it's super manual. It's slow. You don't actually know whether the videos you're looking at are converting well. And yeah, it's probably something I would only recommend, like, if you're bored at home or you're commuting or whatever, and you just want to kind of do some research as you go. Then I'm just going to combine these last two. So Billow and Instagram, like these are like platforms, or Billow is a platform where you can hire UGC creators. The positive with that is that these guys understand content creation and it should be done pretty quickly. You can kind of just say, this is the brief, go away and do it. The downside is that these guys don't really have that much TikTok shop affiliate experience. It's all like UGC, Instagram experience, which is very different actually to TikTok. TikTok content is more about authenticity and like, content coming across as like not an ad. Whereas UGC content is very polished and it can feel corporate at times and it's choreographed and stuff. And, those type of videos don't tend to do amazingly well on TikTok. They can do, but like in terms of organic reach, not incredibly amazing. So the next thing that you're going to need to do when you do find creators is clearly you're going to need to message them, right? And my best advice is whatever you message them, especially when you're new on TikTok, is just try and be as personable as possible. Mention their name, mention a video that you've seen that you like, or just, if you're going to use a bot, which we're going to come onto in a second, don't go so generic that it's like, hey, dear, your content is amazing. Would you want to promote ours? Like, as a creator myself, I'm telling you that I get so many of those messages every single day from brands that clearly have not looked at my profile. In fact, I had one like a few months back and it was like, your content's amazing. Do you want to promote our like nail varnish holder kit? And I was just like, you've obviously not looked at my content. So keep it personable. And, if you are really serious about scaling on TikTok, eventually you're going to have to make use of a TikTok bot. And that is because you're not going to receive that many responses from creators. You're just not, no matter how good your message is. The things that I've just told you to do there, of course, that's going to improve your chances that you'll get a response. But, like ultimately, if you're unknown, you're new, then you should really expect a response for like 1 out of every 100 messages or so, right? And then of that, you should get like a sample request. So the way to get around that is to make use of a VA, so a virtual assistant, and you should be able to hire someone to, basically message affiliates all day for you for like $3 or $4 an hour, or to make use of like TikTok bots. Now, the one that we use is called Uptick, and it is incredible. I'll put the link for that below, and I'll also put a tutorial for how to use it in the corner. But like Uptick, what it will do is you basically just specify, you say what type of creators you want it to target, GMV wise, category wise, gender wise, whatever. And then you write your messages. You can put pictures in. You can also send like, invites and for samples and stuff. And then it will just mass blast it for you. So if you're in the UK, there's only actually around, like 8,000 affiliates in total. It will do that very, very quickly for you. But the downside is that you can't use bots when you are a seller with no GMV. And that is just to basically stop spamming, I guess. So as soon as you become a seller on TikTok, it will say to you, the max amount of people you can message is 100 until you're generating £500 of GMV in a week. So, as soon as you kind of get that initial sales level, that restriction will be lifted. So my recommendation is when you're just starting, just get a VA or somebody to kind of message creators for you. You can do it on the affiliate dashboard on the back, which I'm going to show you shortly. Or you can just like message as many as you want on the front end, just like by DMs or commenting or whatever. So, the amazing thing about these bots, when you have got everything set up, is that they can do everything automated for you. They can accept sample requests. They can request like certain ad spark codes, they're called, although those are being phased out. They can take care of customer service messages. They can do everything. So Uptick is my recommendation, and I'll put a link for that below as well as the video. So let's now just kind of cover, samples and commission rates. And let's just cover samples first. So the rule of TikTok Shop affiliate to the creators is that every single video that promotes a certain product must actually contain that product in it. So I couldn't just say, guys, buy Neutronic productivity drink, it's amazing, and then never show it and then just tag the product. And it's obvious why TikTok has that requirement, right? Because otherwise you just get people pretending to recommend products they've never tried. So for that reason, every video must contain live footage that is unique. It can't be stolen, it can't be reused of the product being promoted. So therefore, you are going to need to be giving samples out to creators. Now, there are different types of samples that you can offer. You can do free samples or you can do refundable samples. As a brand new seller onto TikTok, you need to be offering at the very least both of those options. Never, ever, ever just launch with a refundable sample only, because the truth is that the vast majority of people will not want to do that. A refundable sample is where you say to the creator, you need to buy the product first. And then once you sell, 2 units for us, 5 units, whatever it is, then we will refund you. And it's all done automated, but it's just super off-putting. These guys do not want to pay anything. So, you will eventually get refundable sample requests once you start getting traction and once creators see that, oh, I could probably earn money from this because they can see other creators doing that. You're going to need to basically set up free samples. They're not automated. It will always come to you to approve unless you're using a bot. And again, I'll show you in a second how to kind of set that up. But the rules with samples are that as soon as the creator receives it through the post, they've then got 14 days to either upload one video that tags the product or to do a live and actually sell 1 unit. And I know what you're thinking, one video, that's a bit lame. That's just the way it is. That's why you have to work with creator communities like us, because we kind of encourage and we try and motivate people to upload way more than that. Unfortunately, a lot of TikTok Shop affiliates out there in the public space, they just do it to get free samples. So what will often happen is you will find that they request a sample, you approve it, and then you see the video and it's terrible. It's just there's no effort. It just looks like fake spam and it doesn't get you any sales. So, this is why it all comes into the strategy. Your success on TikTok, it's all down to the strategy and execution, the creators you work with, and so on. So your sample strategy is going to play a big part in your success, who you approve to, how many you approve, and so on. So let's now just cover the different types of commission, the different ways to pay your creators. And then I'm going to give you a walkthrough of TikTok Shop Affiliate, the kind of platform. So if you, once you set up your account and you kind of say to TikTok, I want to offer commission to creators, the rate that you set straight off the bat is going to be called the open plan. That just means the commission rate that you are going to be charging or paying to any creator that just happens to stumble on your shop or sees it from another creator and they press, I want to promote. So that rate there can vary from 1% to 80%. Obviously, it's very, very rare to see people or brands at either end of that range. What is most common is between 10 and 30%, and that depends on the category. So it's not exclusively that. Supplements will often be 20%, electronics and other stuff closer to 10, maybe even lower. My suggestion when you very first launch is to do something really attractive, right? It could be 15, 20%, just higher than usual. It can all be changed because you want to attract as many creators as possible and you want to entice them to get promoting and doing, lots and lots of content for you. The next type of commission rate is the target plan rate. And this is basically you offering special deals to certain creators. So when you're messaging on the bot or you're doing it manually, you could say, I spotted your content. I think it's amazing. Our open plan rate is 10%, but we'd really love to get you on board. So, we'd be willing to give you 15% or 20%. That's like a target plan rate. Okay. And then finally, you've got the shop ads rate. When you start running ads on TikTok, you can specify, I only want to pay 5% to the creator for their video if it generates me a sale if I'm doing ads, because obviously ads cost money, right? So let me now just flip into TikTok Shop Seller Center, and I'll show you where everything is. Okay, so as soon as you log into the Seller Center, you are going to want to come here where it says affiliate. And then as soon as the page loads, you want to come into go to Affiliate Center Home. Okay, so now what we can see is like the nice dashboard. So this is for one of the brands that we are like currently running their TikTok shop for. So you've got like a nice little overview, a little dashboard here that kind of says the GMV that's been generated by affiliates, creators, how many items sold, how many videos were uploaded, and all that good stuff. Then you've got like sample summary. So I actually did this about half an hour ago, but I'll quickly show you now. So if we go into sample summary, we can see that one person, I'm just going to blur their details out, has requested this as a free sample. You can see how many followers they've got, which honestly does not matter when it comes to TikTok shop affiliates. I wouldn't be paying attention to that. You can see the post rate. So that means 80% of the time they post the video featuring the product within that 14-day period. The rest of the time they either don't post at all or it's outside of that 14-day period. So the lower that is, I'd say 80% is good from what I've gathered over the period I've been doing this. If you're seeing like sub 50% or even sub 60, I'd be extremely cautious. Then you've got 30-day GMV. So how much revenue or gross merchandise value has this creator generated for the brands that they work with, right? And then you can click this, and then what you can do is you can either approve it or you can reject it. So in this case, I'm just going to press reject, and I'll put the creators isn't eligible, and that's just purely because the GMV is too low. Okay, so this is what the affiliate center looks like. Let me just tick through everything. So the first thing you'll want to do as soon as you have set up your listings and all that is come to open collaboration, and then you're going to want to add your products. By default, your products are not going to be open to be promoted by TikTok affiliates. You need to come in and you need to add them. Okay. And then this is where you set up your samples and where you set up your open plan commission and your shop plan, your shop ads commission. So you can see this one here. It says free sample, not created. We just don't offer it for this product. And then we've got here, sample quantity unlimited. So that's just because, I didn't really want to put a certain limit on it. As soon as you set it up, you press that button and you can see, you can set how many samples you want to offer. I would just keep it as unlimited personally. And then you can kind of put, criteria that people need to have met, basically. So I've just put more than 2,000. The reason I've done that is because you need like 1,000 or 500 anyway to do TikTok shop affiliate content. And my kind of thinking was, if they're any good, if they're brand new, then they're probably not going to have many followers and therefore not much experience. But, the more you post, the more followers you would get. So even though I did say it doesn't matter, I just kind of use that as the threshold here just to reduce the number of requests, just because we were getting so many. Then the next I said 30-day GMV. Don't ask me why, but it's so low, the threshold. The highest you can do is 160 quid. So I just put it to that. Anyone less than that, I'm not going to accept. And then that's it. That's all I did. Average views per video. I'm just going to change that actually. Let me do 300. The truth is that you can get creators that are very good that have a low average view rate, and that's just because they post so much volume. So don't set it too high. And then next here we've got the commission rate. So standard, that is going to be your open plan rate. So what the creator will see when they land straight on your shop page and they look on, and they want to basically promote it. So what I do is I might just quickly show you actually. Here we go. So here is a product here. I'm hoping you can see this. There we go. And then you can see there's a dashboard. Let me just maybe reduce the brightness. Okay, I don't actually know how clear that is, to be honest. So there we go. There. So you can kind of see there, you've got all the commission rate and all stuff. And then I just press add to showcase if I want to promote it. Okay, so that's basically what comes on. And then we've got the shop ads rate. So that should always be lower. To be honest, when you are launching brand new as a seller, I would probably match these, because creators will see it often and be like, oh, I actually want, I think that's cheeky. The rate's too low, whatever. So have these matched when you first launch. And then, once you've got a good amount of creators, I would lower it. Just to give you an example of how we did that with this product, we launched this at 20% commission. We've now, you can see how many creators are, on this now. And then we just lowered it over time. So the next thing we've got is the target collaboration. So this is where you come when you want to, invite specific creators and you want to give them a nice little bit of extra commission in order to motivate them. Maybe even if you've got like a good creator that's posted lots for you and you want to retain and motivate them, this is where you would come and you just put in the details, you would put the specific rate that you want in, and yeah, that's it. The next thing we've got is discover creators. So this is where you come in to find, creators, what I was talking about earlier. So let's just have a look at this one here. So I'm actually familiar with this creator. I've just kind of seen her. I think she might be an Honest Creators, I'm not sure. But yeah, so you can kind of see here, her details. You can see what category she likes to promote. Not that that's essential, but it definitely does help. And then if you scroll down, you can kind of see the GMV that she generates. So, per day, not like a huge amount, but still making some sales. So this is what I mean. Like, it only goes back 30 days. So we don't know. Maybe this creator just went on holiday here and stopped posting during August. It's really hard to see it, like her past experience. But, if you're really keen on this creator, for example, you could go on her TikTok profile on your phone or just press this button here. And then you can kind of see, if you think they're any good. And then if you do, you can message them or you can invite them straight away to start promoting your products. Next up, you've got like view rankings. So this is where you can kind of see, the top performers of like the day, the week, the month. And yeah, it's all like the usual suspects. So Char, who is our TikTok Shop live coach in Honest Creators, she's number 2. Gemma as well. I know her well. Like, there's so many of these. It's really cool to come and have a look. But yeah, my suggestion would be to come and look through all these and, message any ones you like. But just remember, these guys are the top dogs. So you're going to have a really compelling offer if you want a response, or you have to be creative, right? So the rest of the stuff down here, we've got like work with partners. So this is where you'll see Honest Creators in here. So this is just showing you like the top agencies that work directly with creators. So you can see we are here right now. So 520K, which is nuts. So yeah, we've had a good month, and yeah, this is the highest we've been. And success is not linear, is it? So we could go down, we could go up, but right now, considering we only launched in February, I'm really happy with that. So what else? Then we've got sample requests, which just shows you the things that I spoke about earlier. So where you can approve, decline, or whatever. So that is the kind of, this is probably where you're going to be spending most of your time, to be honest, just like looking through this and messaging creators and stuff. So make sure that you get familiar with it. So let's switch back to the materials now. So when it comes to samples as well, by the way, there's no way to kind of auto accept creators that meet your requirements when it comes to samples, unless you use Uptick. So Uptick has that. It's got AI bot to respond to questions as well. Again, I'll put the link for that below. So the next topic, right, is making content. My absolute suggestion and essential recommendation is that you make content yourselves, in addition to getting creators to make content for your products too. And the reason I think that you should be making content yourself is so that you can understand quickly what does and doesn't work. It is an amazing skill to have. Like, content creation and social commerce, they're not going anywhere. So the quicker that you can get familiar with how to make hooks and how to make videos and stuff, the better. And it's just going to help you to basically critique your creators and give them guidance a lot better. So if you know yourself how to make content, when you're speaking with creators, affiliates, whatever, you're going to be in a great position, because you can say, you need to change this, you need to do this better, and so on. So the websites that I would recommend, or rather the strategy that I would recommend to making content, is to basically leverage what is already working well for creators in general and for your products for similar products on TikTok. And the way to do that is to use tools like Social One and Callow Data. So as I mentioned earlier, Social One will show you the top charts of all the best videos at the moment going viral on TikTok. And it does that very, very accurately, straight off the bat. So you can see today, last 3 days, last 7 days, and last 30 days. And it's so helpful helping you understand what type of hooks are currently working, what type of products are working, what type of creators are working, because it all feeds into one, right? If you start seeing certain hooks that are doing well, or you see a certain hook that's performing well, chances are is that it's also going to work well if you also insert that into your video too. And it's just honestly a real hack to saving time at coming up with content ideas. You can also filter and change it to the US, so you can see what's working well in the US right now, or if you are in the US, switch it to the UK, and then kind of replicate and imitate. But one of my other favorite things here is you can literally type in a competition product, have a look, go on it, and then it will just show you, what's working well for that brand right now. So if you were selling apple cider vinegar gummies, Free Soul is here, you could come here and you could say, right, what's working well right now in the last 7 days? You can click it, you can watch the video, and then you can basically replicate and imitate it. Okay. And then what's also great here is it's got AI insights. So it will break it down, the video, why it was good, to help you learn. And you can also give that to your creators that you recruit. And then you can also transcribe so that you can get the script, so that you can basically, just put it into AI and make another video effectively. So we've got that. And then we also have Callow Data, which is very similar. It's a bit clunkier, but it gives you a lot more granular detail. So here I've just gone into product, for example, and we've got the charts for the last 30 days. It's what products are doing really well. You can then go into video and you can see what the top performing videos are for the last 30 days. Again, just like with Social One, you can type in Free Soul and you can search and basically find specific videos. Actually, what I wanted to do there was type in product. The downside, I would say, with Callow is it's not quite as the data is not quite as fresh. So this goes way further back. So trends back 30 days might not be as relevant today. The closest you can do is yesterday, and I'm not convinced on that actually being yesterday, because whenever I search, the information isn't super duper accurate. And then in addition to that, like I said before, even though you do get revenue charts and all stuff like that, it's a complete estimate. It's not actually based on anything. So you've got to take it with a little bit of a pinch of salt. But, you can click into the product like I've done here. We can scroll down. We can see all these creators, some of whom are the brand themselves, but these are creators that, you then want to check out on the back end of TikTok Shop Affiliate and kind of see if they're performing and message them. And then you've got more video ideas. So my ultimate suggestion would be to use both tools. If budget is an issue, Social One. If it's not, use both. We've got discount links for both of those in the description box below. So let's now let's just quickly discuss your content strategy. When you are about to when you created your TikTok Shop seller account, straight off the bat, my suggestion is, as the brand owner, you want to be making as much content as possible. You want to be replicating what those guys on Social One and Callow Data are doing. You want to make up your own content too. We've got a whole course, a Honest Creators Content Creators course, separately that you can enroll on if you want to learn how to do that. But ultimately, you need to make sure that the content that you are filming and putting onto TikTok is structured so that you've got a hook, so something that you say, do, write, whatever, that makes the viewer stop in their tracks and be curious about what's coming next. So think of it like a headline on a blog post or a newspaper article. You then want to make sure that in the video itself, you talk about the benefits of the product, how it's helped you, why it's amazing, do it quite subtly, and then a call to action. As I say, I talk for hours about this in a separate course, so I'm not going to dive into the detail now, but you need to be doing that. I would also suggest doing behind the scenes videos. People love that. They love hearing about how brands are doing, about, rags to riches, whatever. Authenticity sells on TikTok. So I would be doing that too. And then, by the time that you're ready to launch, so your stock is ready to go, that's when you need to be getting creators and saying to them, do you want to come on board? We're ready to go. I'll send you samples. Don't do the content creation stuff with randoms, like more than a day before you're ready to launch, because what will happen is they'll get samples and then they'll forget, and you'll say, hi, we're ready to launch now, and that's it, you've lost them. It all needs to be done, kind of together, and we'll cover that in the little launch strategy section. But for sure, from today onwards, as soon as you create your TikTok account and you're approved, you need to be making content yourself, as much content as you can. Now, one additional thing that I do just want to quickly run through is GMV Max, the ads on TikTok. So the way that ads run on TikTok is, you'll be pleased to hear, an absolute doddle compared to Amazon, Google Ads, whatever, because it's all basically done by AI. All you say to TikTok is, this is how much I want to spend per day, max, and this is what my target ROAS is. So, for every pound or dollar that I spend on ads, I want to get £3 or $3 back in revenues. That is honestly all there is to it. And, a lot of the time, TikTok will actually do that for you. They have like a GMV Max guarantee where it says, if we spend your budget and we don't get within 80% of your target ROAS, then we won't charge you, or you get a refund or whatever. So you can see here, this is an account that we run. You can see in the past 7 days, we've generated, nearly 7K from of revenues via these ads. We only spent 1,600, so we've got a ROAS, or return on investment, of 4 times, which is like really good. For every pound we're spending, we're getting £4.17 back. TikTok is very, very profitable when using ads. But you do have to be careful. So make sure that with the shop ads that I showed you earlier, that once you've kind of got a decent amount of content, that you lower that, so future affiliates are not, kind of costing you a bomb when you're running ads as well. And you obviously also need to make sure that you've got lots of content on TikTok. So we'll cover that in the kind of strategy bit, the launch strategy bit, in a second. But for sure, you can't just start GMV Max straight off the bat and expect decent results, because the reality is that you're just not going to have any videos, and then your account's not going to spend, and then you're going to be thinking, do I lower the ROAS or what? And you're going to be in trouble. Now, on that point, if you do have a campaign running and it's just not spending any money, then that's because your ROAS is too high. So as soon as you launch an ad campaign on TikTok, start low, like 2.5, and then gradually increase until it spends your budget, or until you're getting the results that you desire. So let's now cover your launch strategy. What I would suggest that you do basically in your first month of selling on TikTok. So let's just assume that you've got your account set up, you've got your listing on TikTok, everything's optimized. The first thing you need to be doing is filming content yourself. We've just spoken about that in detail, and my suggestion, it would be to film at least 1 video a day, right? And just save it onto your phone. And then as soon as you launch on TikTok, be uploading a video every single day, tagging the product in your videos, just so you can start collecting data, understanding what does, what doesn't work, and generating sales. Okay. Then 7 days before your official launch date, and again, everything needs to be ready. Your listing needs to be optimized, your pricing and all that before you do that. Before you do this, you need to start messaging creators, getting them on board, giving them ideas. Don't do it any further back than that, because if you do, like I say, you'll not get responses and the results will be crap. I can't stress this enough. Before you message creators, you need to make sure that everything is optimized, because a creator is really no different to a shopper. If you message them and say, we want you to promote our productivity drink, we'll give you 20%, it will be amazing, blah, blah, blah. If they do read your message, the first thing they're going to do is look at your product listing and look at the offer. And if they look at that listing and they think, well, the title's crap, I don't understand what it is, the price is awful, the images are awful, they're not going to want to promote it. And they're not going to want to promote it because they're not going to earn from it, right? You could say to them, I'll give you 80% and I'll literally be your best mate in the world. But if they don't think that they're going to get that 80%, the best mate thing, it ain't going to cut it, right? So do not even think about messaging a creator. I know how hard that might be, because you're so excited and you want to get started, but don't even think about doing that until everything else looks amazing. Okay. Then on your chosen launch date, you want to make sure that your creators are posting content. Ideally, if you can sync them up and say everyone posts from 6 p.m. or whatever, and then every day. onwards from then. You want to make sure you launch with attractive pricing. So don't launch at the same price as Amazon. Launch below. Tell the creators that it's the cheapest pricing it will ever be. Give them good hooks that they can use according to the price point, according to the product, whatever. And then throughout that first week, this is really important. This is where the strategy really comes into play. You need to make sure that videos are going up daily, that creators are being monitored, that they're being given feedback, that you can say, this is what you're doing right, this is what you're doing wrong, right? I know it might sound like a lot, but it's not really if you map everything out. And, if you don't want to do it, we can do it for you. This is what we do at Honest Creators. And we can also coach you on that as well, right? We can teach you how to do all this. The next thing, turn on GMV Max after 10 days. Don't do it straight off the bat, because the reality is that the campaign won't spend. And then TikTok will just keep saying to you, lower your ROAS. And it just wants you to spend more money with a worse return. So wait until you've got lots of decent content on there first, right? If you can do that, there's absolutely no reason. And also bearing in mind that first slide I showed, which I'll go back to, if you can do that, and you can also remember to include all of these other ingredients. So the product offer is as sexy as possible. The price point, you're hitting the different promotion areas. So, you're doing your ads, you may be even doing lives, and you can get all this going. There's no reason why you can't get that in your very first month. This client here, this was basically 50% of what he was already doing. So he's increased his whole sales across all the other channels by 50% just because you got the strategy right, okay? Super, super important that you basically take this deadly serious. So whilst this is all going on, remember your ongoing jobs are to just keep recruiting, keep training, keep talking to creators, keep them motivated, and then that's it. Jobs are good and you've just unlocked another channel, and happy days. So I've mentioned this a few times now. If you don't want to do this yourself, you want coaching on it, we can do coaching. We do coaching rather. If you want me to take you step by step, give you a roadmap plan, give you like an audit, and also promote your products to our creators community of over 1,000 people, head to Honest Creators, come to I'm a Brand Owner and fill out the form. As you've seen, the results are amazing. We've generated a lot of money for all these different brands and even more. And yeah, it's an awesome, awesome community that I'm very, very proud of. And I would love for you guys to, collaborate with us. So on that note, if you do have any questions, let us know in the comments. I'm pretty sure I've answered absolutely all the fundamentals. Obviously, there's so much more to it than that. So if you want to learn even more about TikTok Shop, subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, TTFN ta for now. See ya.